Serious.
Welcome into Between the Pylons. I'm John Camacho.
And this is Jacob Waters.
And we have a show for you guys today. It's a good one.
It's a good show.
It's a good show. All right, so what were we doing? We got to talk about college football expansion. That's a subject that Jacob's been trying to put on in the itinerary for a while. We're finally going to talk about it today.
Ooh, for like 2 minutes. There's not much to say.
Yeah, there's not much to say, but it is an interesting conversation for sure. And then we're going to talk over-unders, season-long over-unders for the NFL. This is next week is going to kick off our each division breakdown, and we're going to do pretty in-depth division breakdown in every single team in the NFL by division. So that's going to be fun. And with that, we will probably dive a little bit deeper into season-long win totals. You know, we're gonna talk about conference division winners, things like that, and we'll bring in the gambling aspect to it because we like to bet on this kind of stuff. But today we thought we'd just dip our toe in a little bit and look at some of the best bets. We're gonna go down every team and quickly say, okay, what do you think? Is this a good bet? Is this a bad bet? There were certain, just looking at it really quick before the pod, there's a couple that I'm really excited about, like to bet on one way or the other. It's like, okay, that feels
I'm
good.
Get some money
exactly. So let's dig right into it. I want you to lead off this first topic here because I know you feel very strongly about it.
Well, just because college is where my heart is, and college football and everything. So the committee is officially opened up to expanding the playoff, and they really, really jumped farther than what I thought they would. They are leaning, not even, it is going to happen, the 12-team playoff. It's going to be a 12-team format.
You think it's definitely going to happen?
The committee said if it expands, they're going to 12.
It makes sense. I feel like.
I just feel like that might be a little too much.
So how will that work? Do you know how it's going to work with, like, are teams going to get a bye?
So every Power 5 conference already, auto bids, and then they'll take whatever teams go after that. And then they'll have some at-large bids. So I saw a graphic that was explaining if they did a 12-team, who would have played who. Alabama on one side would have gotten a bye. You have the top 4 teams get a bye. So you have 2 teams waiting, 2 teams waiting. Mm-hmm. Bama on one side, Clemson on the other. Mm-hmm. We, regardless of these 12 teams or not, we still would have gotten the same playoff as we did this past year. Yeah. So that was the argument against it this year, just because it just so happens some of these matchups with the 12 taking on the 7, it's an easy 7 goes to play the 1 still wins, the 2 still win, So we're still getting the same thing, the same kind of format. I am excited for it overall though, but I am also kind of loathing it because there's a lot of SEC haters out there, and they're going to be really upset when 2 teams get in the 4-team playoff. How many are going to get on the 12-team playoff? It is a guaranteed 3.
Yeah, well, 3 is low, I feel like. I mean, it's
I think a guaranteed, which as an Auburn fan, I'm ecstatic because now we got to do is beat Bama or Georgia, and I think that gives you a strong enough resume to where you can
win all the other games you need to
win. Of course, the typical, just take care of business.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But I'm excited more often than anything for, the teams that are the Cinderella story, and I'm very excited for that aspect of it. It was, what was it? It was in South Florida somewhere.
We had Coastal Carolina,
UCF
a few years ago. BYU this past year before they lost that last game. I mean, you get to see some of these really, really hot star teams.
Yeah, those teams will actually have a chance, and it'll be really interesting. Cincinnati was a big one. It's like, okay, you can put them in. Yeah, they got to play Alabama. Yeah, they're probably going to lose, but it gives you a chance.
That's what they're asking for, though.
Yeah, they want to play them. They want to play the best. They want to see how they match up, and I think we all want to see it. I'm excited for it. I've been a strong proponent of expanding it. I always said 8 teams and give the first 2 a bye, then it'd go those 6 would go and then they would play, that's kind of how I wanted it to go. 12 is fine with me. Can this be the cap? Because isn't this how kind of basketball ended up going, where it just expanded.
You just have a March Madness. With football, I would say the wear and tear and preparation on a team, though, there's no way that it could go to that.
Now, if it does this also, we got to cut out some games, right?
There would be a game cutoff.
Yeah, we got to cut off at least 1 or 2 games because the college football playoffs shouldn't be going in to the NFL playoffs and things like that. Usually,
they don't want that.
Yeah, I don't think anybody wants that. Especially, I think just as a fan, like I want as much football as I can get. but also like I care about these kids a little, you know, like I don't want them to be killing themselves for, you know, especially the kids that are good enough to start in college but will never touch an NFL field. Like those kids, like they shouldn't be killing themselves to play an extra 15 games a year. Like, come on, that's
this will give a lot of opt-out decisions for a lot of guys too, because with this being said, a lot of teams will play for their true trophy in this format. You know, and if your team's one of the odd man out, like your 9th overall team in the nation, now you're in it.
Yeah, I have always said, you know, like I've always supported pretty much every player that's done the opt out with the bowl games, because the bowl games don't matter. And once the college football playoffs originally started with just the 4, the format we have now, Nick Saban said this once, it took away the importance of these bowl games to the kids, because
every other bowl game does not matter,
right? You just care about the playoffs. Now you expand that, we're essentially taking away the importance of a bowl game, which, you know, I'm fine with. I'll be 1,000% honest. I'm sure people will disagree with this, and I don't, you know, not hating on anybody who disagrees with this, but I never really saw a huge importance. Like, I didn't give a shit. Like, if my Florida State Seminoles won 8 games and we really weren't that good, but we played in the ACC and we were able to, you know, get in a bowl game and we played, you know, nobody. Like, I watched the game, but I didn't really care. Yeah. Like, it didn't affect me, you know.
Me and you feel the same on that, solely because I think that we are accustomed to having, you know, contender teams. It's a thing. But if you're a fan of, like, let's say South Carolina, and I'm not out here shitting on any Gamecocks fans at all or anything like that, or maybe I'll take a Kentucky team, because South Carolina in the past has had some success with Spurrier there. So Kentucky, you know, overall as a football fan, you can't sit there and be like, okay, we have a chance to compete for the national championship this year.
Yeah.
You know, barring some, exactly. So where do you find your joy? You find your joy in getting that 6-7 win. Yeah. Let's make it to a bowl game. That's why the bowl game still will matter for those smaller schools.
Yeah.
And I like this expansion because there's a lot of top dog schools out there, Florida State, Auburn in the past, who when we're not competing at the end of the day at the highest level, but we're just outside of it, it, you know, the players don't care as much. They just don't. I can show you on paper for a fact when Auburn played UCF. That was UCF's Super Bowl. That was in the Sugar Bowl. Auburn had a great year, beat Georgia, Bama, but we lost to Georgia again in the SEC championship game. So we were out of the playoff. We were the number 5 team in the nation, but 1, 2, 3, 4 made it. We get to play the number 8 UCF team, and that's their Super Bowl. That's their undefeated year. That's the Scott Frost last year. That's them showing everyone why they deserve to be there. And you got to play a demoralized Auburn team that just didn't give a damn.
Yeah.
Now, on this new format, both of those teams would be in the new playoff.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think
always going to be teams that are out, but you're just including more, so we'll get a better
that
product.
Is the absolute best argument for it. And the other piece, I kind of went off topic a little bit on my own thought, but I was thinking about the kids that opt out for a bowl game, right? Never cared. Like, I totally support. Like, you're going to be a first round pick, you're going to be a second round pick. If you're in that range, opt out. If it helps your future life career, you do whatever you got to do in college. Like, I think that's what college is for.
Deal with the fans later.
If it pisses off some fans, that so be it. It is what it is. You got to do what's best for yourself. I kind of like, my opinion's going to change a little bit, and I guess technically the way I said that, it shouldn't really change, but my opinion's going to change when you made the playoffs and you know, your team's trying to fight for something bigger, you know, and when you're the star of your team, you're going to be a top pick. You know, you get entered in the playoffs. It's gonna happen. Guarantee it'll happen. Yeah. You're gonna get hurt. You know, there's gonna be a star who gets hurt in the second round of the playoffs, third round of the playoffs, and you know, you sit there and say, man, he could have opted out, could have been a top 10 pick. Now he's gonna be a second round. You know, like, that's gonna happen.
Man, it's always, and it's like gonna be tough to watch. Approach. It
really is.
If they go out there and play great and they do what they're supposed to do, that's awesome. I'm glad they had the memories there to help their team and all of that. And me as a fan. Someone from my team sits out, I'm like,
it's going to be hard as a fan. It's going to it would be very difficult as a fan. Like, as a fan personally, I don't think I could handle it. And then just as, like, you know,
I can always outside in not fan though. Like, if I look at
I'm just saying, like, as me, like, looking at a situation, if my team's nowhere near it, and let's say your Auburn team, one of your top guys opts out, you're the 10th team and you have a chance to do something, it's going to be hard for me to, like, realistically say, you know, oh, well, I get that you're upset, but Auburn didn't have a chance to win. Like, it's going to be hard to say your Auburn didn't really have a chance to win, and this dude needed to do what's best for him. Even though that's true, it's going to be difficult to, like, really divide those two things. It'll be an interesting conversation, and I'm sure there will be a lot of
case by case. I mean, it really will.
It will be. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
I'm hoping, though, that, I mean, because looking at this last playoff with the 1 through 4, there was so many powerful names that went into the draft. Mm-hmm. None of those guys opted out because they had something that they really, really wanted to compete for. I would assume the same thing would go for a 1 through 12, especially with those smaller schools. Those guys are there. Yeah. Those guys are there to compete no matter what. Now, there could be some case where you have a Zach Wilson, BYU, or I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but Coastal Carolina has a good quarterback right now who's coming into the draft this next year. Those really, really small schools with one big name, the big name might protect himself. Yeah. He really might.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, if you're playing Alabama and you know that you're on a small school team, your offensive line may not be
Zach Wilson this year.
Bama fed,
Yeah, well, what if Boise State really had to play Alabama and you're Zach Wilson? You're like, man,
BYU,
BYU. Excuse me. What if BYU had to same statement?
And you play that You play that great competition. It's gonna be. You're either gonna make yourself. Yeah. And it's going to hurt.
And granted, at the end of the college season this year, no one knew Zach Wilson was going to be the second pick.
Of course,
I think a lot of people in the NFL and those circles were aware that he was the guy or he was going to be the next guy. I think there was some awareness there, but I don't think the average fan would not be able to handle it. The average fan would look. I think I would have even at the time would have been like, no, fuck you. You had a chance to play Auburn or Alabama and you didn't take that opportunity.
See, and it's going to go for or against you because it's like what's one thing we criticize Trey Lance or Zach Wilson or any of these smaller schools, Josh Allen when he was coming about.
Yeah.
Competition that you played against.
Yeah.
Okay, well now you get to go play them. He is just one guy.
Yeah.
On that offense for that case, he is one guy out of 11 out there.
And I can show you.
And there's D1 athletes loaded against you.
And I can show you a ton of film of him doing everything he can, putting the ball right in a player's breadbasket 50 yards down the field, and the dude drops it. Like I just guarantee you, it would not have been pretty for him. It would have been a tough game, and then everyone's gonna have to. And then everybody.
Which narrative do you want to listen to?
Exactly. You're gonna hear all the narratives. Well, okay, so you're grading him on one game when he was outmatched in every single way. It's going to be tough. It'll be interesting, but those conversations are going to be fun, and it will also, on the flip side, give guys that maybe were a little bit more under the radar, weren't aware of, they'll put them on the biggest stage and give them a chance.
Yeah.
Go
Think
prove
about
it to
if there is some small, like Coastal Carolina, that guy, whenever he's ready to step up, I knew his name before, I don't know why I blanked on it. If he steps up and leads his team to any amount of this, he has that on film now. He has, okay, what'd you do when the lights were brightest? Because that's one of the biggest questions for a lot of scouts out there is what can you do when the lights are on?
Because the lights are always on in the NFL.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. All right. Hey, I like that. I absolutely agree. It was an interesting conversation. Let's move on to a little bit of, I got to log back in to actually look at these. So it'll take a second, but we're going to talk about some over-unders. The site that we're using, and no free shout-outs, so we're just going to go through here. We're going to go alphabetical. And we're not going to spend a lot of time. We're going to try and make this pod. We're aiming for 30 to 45-minute pods. Yeah. So
I say if we have some discrepancy on one, then we can talk about it.
And a lot of these are going to be like, okay, that's good. So and remember, 17 games this year. So it's not 8-8, it's 8-9. It's not, it's not 13-3, it's 13-4. So that'll be fun to fuck up about a million times. I guarantee it. I know I will anyway. Arizona Cardinals, first one on this list.
You're gonna mess that up.
I am for sure. I am. Yeah. Their over under is 8 wins.
It all builds upon each other.
Yeah.
And with the Arizona Cardinals being in the hardest division in football, that one definitely builds upon each other because it'll be like, what if we say over here, then you get to the 49ers, oh, they're over too.
Yeah.
Okay, well, now what about Seattle? Now what about the Rams?
Yeah, exactly.
Because we just gave 2 overs that have to play each other 2 times plus every single other one.
I wouldn't
I will say I wouldn't touch this one. I'd take the over.
Fair enough. I'll show you one that I will take, and I like. And granted, listen, we're not looking at schedule. This is just kind of our first dip in the toe. Overview. We're gonna dive into this a little bit more, but as the next 8 episodes, basically after this episode, next 8 episodes, we're diving into it, and we're analytics, all the things, all the changes, their schedule, all of that. So we'll dive into it more. But here, just looking at the Atlanta Falcons at 7.5 wins, I'm taking the under.
Yeah, it's a slam dunk.
That's a slam dunk under to me.
I don't think they have the means to compete because if we looked at them last year, they had the same kind of core going that they still have going.
Yeah, offensively for sure.
Exactly.
Now they've added some defensive guys, but they didn't have a ton of cap to really make a difference in free agency. I can't remember, like off the top of my head. I know they added some guys with no like, this changes your win total, guys. Yeah, and then the draft. Obviously Kyle Pitts is going to be awesome, but you lost Julio Jones, so at best that washes.
That's what I'm thinking.
I mean, so
that literally at best Kyle Pitts becomes like at absolute best.
Yeah, he replaces the production. It doesn't. Yeah, so yeah, I'm taking the under there, and obviously you got to play Tampa, you got to play the Saints, you got to play the Carolina Panthers. I think are going to be good. Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
I'm really big on them too.
Yeah, Baltimore Ravens 11. I'm not touching that. What do you think there?
I'm gonna take the over.
Okay.
I wouldn't prefer to bet on that, but if I had to take one, I would take the over. I think that Baltimore's going to really, really come back, and I hope that they saw, with this revamped wide receiver core. I love that everyone in the world knew what their need was, and a lot of times it feels like there's fans speak, and then it's like, okay, well, the team really doesn't address it in that regard. This wasn't just fan talk. This was GM talk. This was the whole organization saying, yeah, we need better wide receivers to take care of Lamar. Sure, I don't think Lamar helped himself and helped any of those guys last year in some ways whenever it came to some of his passing abilities, but
yeah, he had some bad games.
They revamped that core. They got a lot of guys. They have it now to where a Miles Boykin, who was a serviceable wide receiver, is now your odd man out.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, he's 5th on the depth chart now.
Yeah, he probably will be. Yeah.
You have Sammy Watkins.
Devin Duvernay overtook him in the middle of the year.
Devin Duvernay,
Hollywood, and then
who
Bateman.
they drafted, Rashad Bateman. He literally is 5th.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I don't know. For me, the wide receiver core isn't what makes or breaks my over/under for me.
Okay.
Just because that's not how this team wins. It's the legs of Lamar Jackson. It's the run game overall. I like the team. I don't. 11. I'm just not touching. I certainly could see it going over. I out the top of my head, I think 11 sounds right. You know what I mean?
Of course.
But 11, 12 wins. 17 game season. That's still 6 losses. So I guess that's about right. Buffalo Bills 11.
I expect you to slam it.
I think it's an over, right?
Yeah,
I think it's an over.
I would say so.
Are they losing 6 games?
So I don't know. In my head, if you're looking at Baltimore at 11 and then Buffalo at 11, if I said Baltimore's 11, Buffalo is definitely an 11 because they get the Jets twice. I think they split with Miami.
You can say you can say they get the Dolphins twice.
I don't think they would sweep. I really don't. I think y'all have a really good team this year. I think y'all.
I do too. I just
I haven't seen y'all's over under. I would put it at 9, 10, 11. Right. Okay. I would say 9 or 10 is where y'all would be.
Probably 9.
But for Buffalo, you get the Patriots, and I don't really think they're going to be all that competitive. Probably around a 7, 8, 9 football team.
They'll probably split the Patriots.
All in all, Buffalo's getting the division.
Yeah, probably.
That has to be 11 to 12 wins in my head.
Yeah, no, I definitely get what you're saying. I just look at the team overall, and I don't see how they won 13 games last year.
And they can add another game. They can do it.
They won 13 games, and one of their losses was because of a Hail Mary. I mean, a Hail Murray.
Yeah.
I mean, it should have been 14 games. So yeah, I'm taking the over there. I think that's a really good bet. That's one we'll have to circle back to because I really like that bet. Another team that I absolutely love, and I will be pounding the over. This is the Carolina Panthers at 7.5. I know you're a little bit more lukewarm on them this year than I am. I've been high on Carolina all offseason, and I'm going to continue to be. I think Sam Darnold's a dude. I think their weapons are legit offensively. Defensively, I love their D-line. Look, do they need to add pieces? Sure. Yeah, they're not a completely finished product. I think they're a good team. I do think they're going to make the playoffs, and I think they're going to crush 7.5 wins. I really do.
Yeah, you are higher than me. I would put the over here, though. I really believe in Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
The next team for me, though, and it's working alphabetical because it's like your hot team, my hot team, Chicago Bears. I don't want to be on the Chicago Bears. I don't want to be on them, man. They have a tough-ass defense, a top 5 defense in the NFL. And I truly believe that if you take away the first 4 weeks of the season, I know we can't do that for win-loss over-under totals.
For sure.
Because that is going to contribute to why Justin Fields gets to take the reins. I do think that he can lead this team to a 9-ish win.
Yeah, I'm down on the Bears. I really am. I would actually take the under.
Kirk always lays an egg over. That's true. He does.
Might be the Packers without Aaron. I mean, shit.
There's a world where this team can hit 8 no problem solely based on that defense. Yeah. They've done it time and time again.
Yeah, I totally get it. I probably wouldn't bet on this. If you put a gun to my head, I'd probably go under, though. I really would.
It's the defense, man.
Yeah, the defense is really good. The defense has been good for a while. Yeah, no, I get it, and I'm not gonna hate on you for it. Let's move right on for Cincinnati Bengals. It's another one I like the over for. That's 6.5. I think Joe.
Man,
I think Joe Burrow's better
overs,
with that.
Though. I do too.
That's always how it goes.
Exactly.
Though, right?
That's how they get you, bro. It's hard to take an under.
It is,
because you'll be sitting there in week 5, and it's like they've won. They're 3-2. Oof. And they need to stay under 6.5.
Yeah,
I'm done for the year.
Yeah.
That's the problem with it. This team though looks really, really good on paper.
Offensively, for sure.
Yes. Defensively, they lost a lot of guys that they weren't able to pay. They lost to Carl Lawson up front. They lost to William Jackson, who I felt like was a true superstar.
I think
he's
a top 10.
Yes,
for sure.
He is a very, very damn good corner. They needed to retain those pieces. They didn't have the money to do it. I get that. They took care of the offensive side of the ball, but still, Joe Burrow's better than this. He can do that.
Yeah, I think he wins 7 games. I think Joe Burrow is good enough to win 7 games with the weapons he has offensively. And it'll be fun. And it just depends. I think this is the year where it's like, okay, now I'm going to start looking at the coach. Now I'm going to start looking at Zach Taylor. What are we getting from him offensively, schematically, things like that? How are you helping your team?
It's a big year for him.
Yeah, I certainly think it is as well. Cleveland Browns, 10.5. Everything on paper says this should be over. Tell me why it's not.
I'm 110,000% betting on this one.
Okay.
Cleveland Browns are winning the division. Okay. I am very confident in saying that. I think that Cleveland is ready to go. I'm really big with what Stefanski's been doing in this run game, keeping it simple for Baker. But Baker is a good enough quarterback to where it doesn't have to just be simple. But whenever it is like this, whenever it's really kept in tight, this play action, steady run, a very, very good defense, super underrated team overall.
Yeah.
These guys can make some noise. They're a botched 4th down play away from beating the Chiefs in the playoffs.
Yeah, you look at the Cleveland Browns, and I feel like if you took away the name and just talked about the talent on that football team, you say, okay, I'm going to give you a top 5 offensive line. All right, awesome. I'm going to give you an up-and-coming quarterback who is probably already right around top 15. If you did a list, we did, and he was right in there for both of us. Okay, I'm going to give you, some of the best wide receiver.
Line.
Well, I already said offensive line. I'm saying some of the better wide receivers in the game. It's certainly one that used to be a superstar, and I'm going to give you top wide receiver talent. Awesome. Okay, you're set. Oh, what about running game? Yeah, I'm going to give you 2 running backs that could probably both be starters anywhere. One of them, by the way, is probably a top 5 running back in the game. And defensively, I'm going to give you one of the most crazy physical freaks that's come out of the draft in years. I'm going to give you some great corners. I'm going to give you pieces all over that D-line. Oh, and free agency, I'm going to add the one piece that you're missing, which was safety. I'm going to get you a guy from the Rams. They did everything right. And by the way, they're a botched 4th down attempt away from being the AFC Championship,
exactly,
having a chance to go to the Super Bowl. I absolutely agree. There's nothing that I could point to that says this is going to be bad for them.
History,
and then there's a little part of me in the back of my head that's like, don't bet on the Browns. That's my only issue there. I want to see the Browns do well. I really do. I like that team. I love OBJ. I love the redemption story there. Love Baker. All the things. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Well, let's move right along to the Dallas Cowboys at 9.5 wins. 9.5 wins. Yeah, I'm taking under here too. You got to prove it to me.
This is a division where it's always ugly. It's always close.
They can get here. On paper.
Oh, they can easily get here. They can get to 11 or 12. Honestly, if the offense starts firing on all cylinders like it can, this defense is bad though. Yeah. Not bad. There's some stars on the D line. You have DeMarcus Lawrence. You have some pieces, but man, some pieces only go so far. Whenever Van Der Esch and Jalen Smith are so banged up, sometimes you got to prove it to them. Yeah. They take care of this, and maybe I'll look at them next year and be like, okay, they definitely can hit that.
For sure, yeah. I think, and for me, listen, we talked about it a little bit last year, and I'm kind of off on McCarthy, and I think he's going to contribute to down here. I'm off on their offense in general. I'm off on. I think it's Kellen. It's not Kellen. I can't remember.
Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore. Thank you. I was like, I wanted to say Mon, and I stopped.
Boise State.
Yeah, Kellen Moore. Thank you. Both Texas quarterbacks. That so I've mixed that up there. But yeah, Kellen Moore, the OC, certainly struggled. You go into the analytics of their offense, and I was reading an article about the other day. That's the only reason I'm bringing it up. And it was very stale, very, very unfortunate the way they run their offense a little bit. And there's certainly some ways they could improve there. I'm off on it until they prove it. On paper, again, yeah, I think they are more than capable of winning 10, 11 games in this division, but until they prove they will, I'm off. I am.
Exactly.
Yeah, moving on to the Denver Broncos. Surprised this line is so high. I'll be honest with you. Denver Broncos, whoa, okay, yeah.
So I saw it, and my eyesight is atrocious, by the way. I thought it said 6.5, and I was honestly thinking, I was like, that's a good line. But man, I don't know. 8.5. They set this line at 8.5. This is an under.
Yeah.
A total under move, because I think that the Raiders are the third best team in that division. I think they're going to give them all that they can have in that division. Chargers are ready to make that next step, and the Chiefs, we know what they are.
All right. No, listen, I absolutely agree with you. We're going to start going a little bit rapid fire here. The Detroit Lions at 5 wins. I'd probably go under. I
would go under for sure, looking at the way the roster's built.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
Rebuild
Houston
year, too.
Yeah, this is a rebuild year. Houston Texans. That's a good one. Houston Texans at 4 wins. For me personally, I'm looking at it like it's just betting on if Deshaun is there or not.
That's the big one.
If he's not, it's under for sure. They could go completely defeated if Deshaun isn't there.
Give me the under, because I do believe that regardless of all the legal stuff, at the end of the day, we still had a problem with Deshaun wanting to play for the Texans.
Yeah.
So I would say both factors involved. He's not.
Yeah, take the under. Yeah, that's an interesting bet for sure. Indianapolis Colts 9.5. I lean over. I really do.
I lean over.
Yeah, I think they're a really good football team. I think this is.
I believe in Carson.
Yeah, I believe in Carson as well. So I absolutely agree. Jacksonville Jaguars 6.5. That's a tough one to bet on, but obviously I think there's probably a lot of people taking the over there just because of the Trevor Lawrence factor and all these other things. Certainly would like to. I'd probably stay away from it.
I wouldn't bet on it. If I had to, I would probably go under, just because a lot of times we look at Joe Burrow, look at a lot of these rookie campaigns.
Yeah.
It's not as successful as you would think when it comes to win-loss wise. Mm-hmm. They can do a lot of good out on the field, but win-loss record doesn't always show.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Kansas City Chiefs, not touching this one way or the other. 12.5 wins. They could absolutely win more than that. They probably will win 13, 14 games.
Many. I just can't afford a Patrick Mahomes tweaked ankle.
Exactly. So you're going to bet the over there and have to sweat it all season, or you're going to bet the under and bet against the Mahomes and the Chiefs. No, I'm not touching either one of those. Las Vegas Raiders. This is they're 6.5, and I'll take the under. I think this is. I struggled here. I'll be honest, because I think about Derek Carr. I think about the weapons he has. I like a lot of that. I think it's a poorly run franchise from a GM perspective, and I hate saying that because I am a fan of Mayock, but I think he struggled. I certainly do. And honestly, I'm not a Gruden guy either. So I look at when I don't like your GM and coach, I don't think you're going to win a lot of games regardless of what's on the field.
Man, I'm worried about both of them just because I think it's starting to get to a point, and I know it's not because they have a resume that stands for itself, both of them alone.
Yeah.
But right now, it feels like it's built on name value alone.
Yeah.
They had a great offensive line.
I think Gruden specifically.
An amazing offensive line that was enticing enough for Russell Wilson and Tom Brady to consider as landing spots.
Cut all that
They
out.
literally just took it away.
Yeah.
I don't know what they were doing.
Drafted 3 safeties in the draft.
I'll take the under.
I'm going to take the under there. And listen,
then
maybe that's
Leatherwood in the first round.
Yeah, exactly. Los Angeles Chargers 9.5. Man, I would actually take the over. Okay, well, that's the first one we disagree on.
Wow. So I am built on the belief that the Chargers do not know how to close out football games. Sure, Anthony Lynn's gone.
Yeah.
Let's just go with that.
I'm not building that. Yeah, I'm actually I'm going the other way. I'm actually taking.
I can see
I'm looking at all the games that they were close with and the amount of games they lost in the fourth quarter. I'm thinking that regresses to the mean, and when I say regresses to the mean, that means they win more of those games in the fourth quarter because on average it usually does. We talk about that every year, and it's a really good indicator, and it's helped me win some money on these season-long bets before. I'd have to go back and really look at the stats there, but yeah, Anthony Lynn's gone. I think that was the biggest issue there. They got too conservative with their rookie quarterback. I think Justin Herbert is an absolute star. So yeah, I'm here for the over there. I'm glad we disagree though. That's a good one. That's an interesting one. We'll have to circle back to. Moving on to the
my Rams,
LA Rams. Hey, look, we're both high on Rams. I don't want you to feel like it's just your team because you know I love the Rams too. Yes. At 10.5, I'm taking the over as well, and that's a tough one in that division. I get it. I'll take it.
I'm taking the over, and I think they're my Super Bowl winner.
Yeah, you said that last week, and honestly, I was mad because I was thinking it too.
I see Rams Chiefs rematch where the Rams are built better this go around.
Yeah, I'm thinking Rams Browns.
Wait, sorry, Rams Patriots was the one from
Rams. Rams Patriots.
But I think it will be Rams Chiefs this year.
Yeah,
Rams over.
Yeah, I do agree.
What do you put your Dolphins at?
Dolphins at 9.5. Hey, I called it earlier. Yeah, I called it earlier. 9.5. I'm not touching that one personally. I could see it going either way. A lot of reports, and listen, I follow the Dolphins very closely, obviously, so I hear a lot more of this. And at this time of the year, it doesn't mean a whole lot. A lot of reports about issues with the with learning the playbook from the team. Apparently, Tua had some issues early on, and there's more reports coming out that he's doing great now. Blah blah blah. But you know how shit like that can go.
Yeah.
I wonder about the playbook. I feel like I love the way we're run. I love our coach GM combo, but our offensive coordinator position has kind of been a revolving door the past couple of years, which I don't know how much of the actual I don't know how much he's bringing into that and how much the coach has. I don't know the exact dynamic of that, but it does scare me a little bit. Overall, team on paper should be really good. I like to think over, but I'm not touching it.
So I just don't want to see y'all grow stagnant. Whenever y'all are literally looking at the window about to be open, I don't want to see you, because y'all are a very good team right now, I would say. I want to see you do what you can to make that step.
Want to get stuck in that 9-9 hellhole.
Is he the quarterback? Is he not the quarterback? Is it the guy? Is it this? Is it that? Is it the... You start looking at little nitpicky stuff. I want to see y'all be able to write it and figure it out, because it feels like, once again, we're saying, this is the year to figure out what you got at quarterback, That's supposed to be last year.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think we all... I knew... Exactly. I came into last year knowing, okay, Tua needs a year to recover from the hip and all these other things. I want Deshaun. Fuck it. I don't care about Tua anymore. I just want Deshaun. I know I've gone on a roller coaster with that, like going back and forth there, but man, I would still take him. Minnesota Vikings, going back to your team, 8.5. Where are you over?
Over.
You over? Okay.
I think we can, like I said, we'll split with the Bears. We can handle the Lions, and then some of those other games. Kirk, our offense was great last year. I will say that. Statistically, we were able to put out 2,000-yard receivers. One of them, Justin Jefferson, who was breaking records like Randy Moss, who the year before Adam Thielen was breaking records like Randy Moss. Dalvin Cook. Yes, the offensive line still needs to improve, as it always does, but they're getting a point now where they have chemistry together. It's the same unit that's been building on.
You added another piece in the offense.
For a while, they were swapping them in and out. Patrick Peterson on defense, yes, I know he is over the hill, but he can give some veteran leadership to some of these younger guys, because we've had so many corners that just get in there, and it's just like, you're trying to learn from your guy, but the guy ahead of you is he's on his own it's his second year in the league now. The guy ahead of him that was showing him is on his third year, because it's just this cornerback thing where we just send the young ones right to the Wolves, and they get chewed up and spit out. Mike Hughes, 7th round pick over at the Chiefs now. Thought he was promising at one point. That was a first-round pick 2 years ago.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I absolutely agree. I probably wouldn't bet this one either way. 8.5, that's a tough one for me.
Optimistic.
Yeah, I certainly think, again, that's an on-paper thing where it's like, I think you should win. I think you should win 19 games, but I thought I was really high on the Vikings last year, and it burned me a little bit. So maybe I'm just I'm a little bit skittish here. But New Orleans Saints is the next team we got to talk about. 9 wins. Actually, I'm going to jumble the next two together, because the Saints and the Patriots, both at 9 wins. I feel similarly about. I'll let you go first, and then I'll explain why.
Mine's short. Under
on both of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you over on both? So I think with Jameis and the Saints in that division, I think Carolina can be better than the Saints this year whenever it comes to overall team build. Just because missing a guy like Drew Brees cannot. I mean, it's huge. Jameis, we'll see what happens with all that. I think he could take care of business and do some stuff. 9 wins is very ambitious, though.
Yeah, for me, it was there's too many factors changing from year to year for me to honestly bet one way or the other. I would never touch either of these teams. My instinct is to go over on both of them, because I love the coaches for both of them. But but beyond that, I don't know what's really going to happen with the quarterback situation for the Saints. Saints had to do a lot of retooling and reworking with all of they had some cap issues there, and they had to let some people go. How does that play out? And then Patriots, the other side of it, had a lot of cap room, brought in a lot of people. What's going to happen with Newton, who's already having injuries in many camps?
If one of them hits it, it'll be the Patriots before the Saints.
Yeah, probably, but I think both of them can, and honestly, it's just tough. It really is for me, so that's why I would just never touch either of those. Moving right along to 2 different New York teams. Giants first here at 7 wins. I'm going to struggle with this one. I'd probably go under. If I had to, I would go under. I probably won't touch it, though.
This team is built for the over. They really are. They can grind out some good wins. it's hard to bet on. I wouldn't bet on it.
Yeah, it all is going to depend on. I mean, I think Joe Judge is doing a really good job of building a very good unit over there, just all around football team.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the end of the day, do we believe in Daniel Jones? I'm not ready to say I do yet. And granted, he could prove me wrong, and I could be totally on the other side of this conversation by this time next year. But at this point, yeah, I haven't seen quite enough yet.
Yeah.
New York Jets 6. I'm taking over.
Taking the over?
Taking the over. I feel good about the over, too.
Wow.
Jets are going to be better than people expect.
I think they're going to be better. I think they're still trying to build that leadership locker room culture. Yeah. That's what this year is.
I think they're 8-9. I really do.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I think they're 8-9. Granted, now you got to remember, 8 wins isn't a winning season.
No, it's not.
8 wins is still a losing season, right? Yeah, so, yeah.
I put them at 4 or 5.
Yeah, no, I get it. I do.
I think Zach Wilson's going to have some growing pains.
I think Zach Wilson's going to be a baller. I think Zach Wilson's going to be a baller. I think their run game is going to be really, really good by bringing over that Kyle Shanahan offense. I think they have pieces on the offensive line. They have pieces on wide receiver.
They have pieces everywhere.
Pieces on defense.
They've gotten better.
They've gotten better.
They had a lot of opt-outs last year, like a CJ Mosley, who could be a leader on that defense.
I think they're going to surprise some people. I really do. And listen, that's a total prediction. I totally get why people would hate me for it. Yeah, exactly.
That's fine.
Philadelphia Eagles 6.5. I'm going under.
I'm gonna take the under as well.
Yeah. I think this is a candidate for a top 3. You know, if I had to pick the first 3 picks in the draft next year, to me it's gonna be Lions, Texans, Eagles. Like that they're in that kind of conversation for me. So when you're in that kind of conversation, I'm going under.
They're a very, very old, aging roster on defense.
Yeah, with a young quarterback, unproven.
Unproven's the main point. We don't know. He could be it. I mean, Jalen Hurts can be an NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
But when you're picking at 1, 2, or 3, I think you'll start to look at the other option at that. We'll see that. I don't think they're going to be that bad. They're going to be a top 10 pick, though.
Okay. I'm glad we're near the same conversation there. Pittsburgh Steelers, 8.5. That's an interesting line.
Give me the over.
Yeah, I'll take the over, too.
Mike Tomlin, I've seen what he's able to do with the Duck Hodges.
They don't have a losing season.
That bill of health. No.
They're not going to have a losing season. The 9 wins is a winning season. 9. Yeah, so yeah, I'm there. I'm there for that. San Francisco 49ers, 10.5.
Ooh, under.
So hard. I take the over, but that's tough.
I took every other person in that division. Well, we have Seattle right behind them.
Yeah.
That I'm going to be an over on them. So I'm going to take an under on the 49ers.
Yeah, you're right.
That's hard.
Every team in that
every
division
single one.
win.
I mean, I said Cardinals over. I said Rams over. I can't have.
Yeah.
No.
Is there growing pains with the rookie? What do they do with quarterback?
I'm going to say growing pains with the rookie. I'm going to say they always have that injury, but
that
roster the 49ers is worse.
Yeah, that's going to be a big part of it. But that roster,
but you don't bet on injuries.
That healthy roster is built to fucking
that defensive
to Super Bowl. Healthy 49ers roster is built for the Super Bowl. Yes. It really is. It's that good.
They're 2 years removed from the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and
they can
really,
do it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But I do get why you're going under here. I would go over, gun to my head, but I'm not betting on it.
Because of my belief in the Rams.
Yeah, I get it. But that's only 2 games. I mean, there's still a lot out there. All right, we'll move right along to their other division, or the other team in that division, Seattle Seahawks, 10
over.
Yeah. I want to go over for every single one. I don't know.
On God, though, honestly, if I said under for the 49ers, if I look at rosters and take the names away, I like the 49ers better than Seattle. It's the defense.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the defense specifically, and obviously Russell Wilson's the great equalizer for me. DK Metcalf on that wide receiver.
Seattle offense, 49ers defense, but the 49ers have a decent enough offense with a Kyle Shanahan-led attack that can take care of what Seattle was not able to do with the Pete Carroll defense.
I think it is right that San Francisco is
the favorite.
Is projected to have 0.5 more wins. I think that's about how I would do it if I was making the odds here too.
Yeah.
I'm not betting on either of those. That's what these win totals are supposed to do. They're supposed to make you think and really like feel one way or the other. Yeah, that's a tough one. Last 3 here. All right, reigning Super Bowl champs Tampa Bay Bucks at 11.5.
Don't touch.
Yeah, I'm not touching.
It's the same thing for the Chiefs. 11.5, 12.5. It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah, like you're a Tom Brady injury away from being under, and I know you can't bet on an injury one way or the other, but they had a lot of injuries last year. They just got healthy at the right time, obviously. Yeah. There's some pieces. Yeah, look, they brought everybody back. They should win it. They should go over, but I'm just not touching it. Tennessee Titans at 9, going under.
Wow.
I'm going under.
Oh, you're going to hurt so many people.
Yeah, I'm going
So I'm going to go over. I think this team is built to take care of this division. It's going to come down to the Titans and Colts.
Yeah.
As it always does.
Yeah, I think they lost too many pieces on defense for me.
Okay, listen, that is a very underrated thing.
They
when
lost
the Titans
too many
got
pieces
Julio,
on defense.
it was, oh my God, Titans Super Bowl. No, guys, y'all took a step back on the defensive front. You literally shot yourself in the foot on the secondary. I get it. You had average players wanting good money.
Yeah, getting paid way too good money.
You can't. Yeah, exactly. You can't do that. But now you took those average players. Yes, they're elsewhere getting that good money, and they're not going to play for that. That's fine, or up to that level. But you still have holes that needed to be filled.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you need a Caleb Farley to absolutely ball out.
You need a Christian Fulton to really step up.
Exactly. It's just, if I'm going to take the over, I feel like I'm betting on too many unproven pieces on that defense. Yeah, I know what the offense is going to be, but I also know, I've seen the Titans go stagnant offensively enough.
I desperately want them to go sign Richard Sherman. I know he's old. But I just think he might be able to help out these young guys, man. That's how bad they're hurting. And they got rid of the guy that they pulled over from the Chargers. I really liked him a lot. Kevin King?
Kevin King, yeah. Well, he retired, I believe.
Regardless.
Yeah, either way, they lost him, yeah. I definitely agree with you. Last one here, Washington football team. 8.5. I'm slamming the over. I am slamming the over. I think this Washington team. Listen, I mentioned it. I mentioned it on a video that's going to be coming out hopefully soon. It's a bitch data, guys. So hopefully it's coming out soon. But our Super Bowl rewind that we did a couple weeks ago, that's finally going to be coming out. I talked about the comparisons that I could make between the Washington football team of 2021 and the Denver Broncos team of 2015, whenever they won that Super Bowl. And I see a lot of comparisons here. I think Fitzpatrick is good enough to lead that team. I do think it's going to be Fitzpatrick at the helm. I'm taking the over. I think it's going to be a damn good football team. I think they're going to come out of nowhere for a lot of people, but not for me.
I want Heineke to be the guy just because I've seen what he was able to do to breathe life in there. Fitzpatrick is a better quarterback for the team overall, though. Heineke's just more fun to watch. Defense is going to take care of it. Yeah, Cowboys, Giants, Eagles. Washington can win this division.
I think they're the favorites to win the division. For me, they are. For me, they certainly are. I think they definitely are.
I know we'll get into the breakdown soon.
For sure. All right. Hey, that's it, guys. We're going to get out of here. Please stick around. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. We're going division by division. Got a lot of good stuff planned for you guys. We're starting that next week. Thank you so much for watching this week. Peace out.
7.